Woo! 2017! New year, new Humble Monthlies. Okay, let's just get into it. Let's just spin this wheelhouse. Da 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 da. Okay, Fistful of Gun. There we go. Woo! New year, new me. Humble Monthly. Yay. Well, I got a Fistful of Gun in the January Humble Monthly of last year. So, yeah, Happy New Year is correct Humble Monthly, just the wrong year. This is really reminding me of how behind I am in getting all these games done. Well, the description for A Fistful of Gun on the Humble Monthly page took a different route than Hurt World or Star Wars Rogue, where those two only talked about the gameplays and features. A Fistful of Gun dives straight into the story. When the evil railroad baron Clayton Boone decided to build a track to hell, he didn't reckon a crazed shaman would raise a posse of blah 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 blah. I'll just figure out the story when I play the game. On Steam, the game ranks as mostly positive, which, you know, isn't the most promising thing to see, but the trailer's cute with, like, a video showing the characters, like, face off in the desert. Each of them has a fistful of gun. Ha! A lot of the reviews seem to center mainly on the control scheme of the game, and I mean, it's a top-down, like, twin-stick shooter, so I don't know how you could really mess with the controls, but it's still rated mostly positive, so I'll just be depending on that positive aspect for this game, and this guy, who said it's a fistful of fun, so depending on this guy too for this game, so yeah, let's just jump into it. Oh my god. Alright, I'm here playing A Fistful of Gun, and my god, this title screen is so loud. Alright. One person is playing online? Well, I don't want to play online, I was joking. No, how do you get out of here? How do you... Oh my god. This is so frustrating already. Story, let's go story. I'm here for this story. Humble Monthly advertised a good story. I want a good story. There lived a railroad baron, Clayton Boone. Okay. And do I press the space again? Okay. Folks said he'd made a deal with the devil. Ooh. To crush anyone who opposed his railroad. What? But didn't count on the righteous psychosis of... I like lost this sentence. What was it trying to say? I don't know. The story is investing. Act 1. Okay. What are the controls? Cool, I can play as all these characters. Wow. Oh, these all have different... They're all different. A juggler? Dutch is a juggler? Murderous juggler. I have no idea who to choose. You know what? I think I'll just do Zeke then, right? Alright, I've done too much. How do you start? Just hit start here. Okay, neutral area. What am I doing? Do I go over here? I have no idea what's going on. 12 miles to go? What am I doing? What's 12 miles? Are they shooting at me? They're shooting at me. Okay, so... oh god, what? Oh, cool, coins. That's fun, right? Gotta loot those coins. 100% loot the coins. What is this? Like, what? Can I go to first aid or a cow? I guess I'll go to the first aid. I want first aid, right? Fancy learning some new tricks. I don't have money. 10 miles to go. 10 miles. Where am I going? This is bad for me because... Ah! Ah, whoa, it's only one kill. One shot, I mean. Oh my god. Ah, I suck at this. Oh my god. Why would I be able to do this? I'm a sniper, right? Why? I need cover or something. Like, literally anything, right? Oh, come on. I am so garbage at this right now. I'm doing this. This is a fun game. I'm having so much fun. Fistful of Gun, more like Fistful of Fun. What the fuck? Why did I come here? Like, why did I choose this character? This is so bad. This is story mode? Oh my god. Game over. Okay, cool. First run through. Am I having fun? I don't know. Am I having fun? I can't tell. This is just getting frustrating. Well, gonna start again, right? Woohoo! Oh god. Act 1. Hooray. So I I've played A Fistful of Gun for around 9 hours now, and I have to say, overall, I was not impressed by this game. I have played this game longer than the games in my previous videos, however, I had the least fun playing this one, and this wasn't a game that got less exciting as time went on. Straight from the get-go, it was clear to me what those negative reviews were pointing at with the controls. And speaking of reviews, gonna have to say that Fistful of Fun review didn't really find it all that helpful. No. Now, to start, my first main problem with this game is the characters available to play as. Each character boasts a different weapon and fighting style for the player to use, and a lot of them come up as more gimmicky than anything. Too many of them are just ill-equipped for the enemies and battles the game throws at you. To start it off, there's Noah. With Noah, you can attack enemies using a shotgun, and you shoot your gun by pressing one of two buttons, and the two buttons control the two chambers in Noah's shotgun. You press the button once to shoot, and once more to reload. Since he's using a shotgun, your bullets do a lot more damage to the enemies, but the way you aim ultimately ruins that. The bullets fire in whatever direction your character's facing, and no matter if you're using keyboard or controller, you can't just simply face an enemy. No, the only way to really face them is to move towards them, which means the only way you can shoot an enemy is to be running towards them, which makes the later and more crowded levels ultimately impossible. Next up is Two Feather, whose weapon of choice is a bow and arrow. Now, Two Feather is one of the more decent characters in that you don't need to reload, you can just spam your arrows, and unlike Noah, the direction you aim is separate from where you're running. Problems with Two Feather is that his arrows don't have the longest range, which makes sense, but also no matter if you're on controller or keyboard, you can only shoot in 4 directions, up, down, left, right, that's it. While this does make many of the later levels more difficult, he is still one of the more decent characters, especially when compared to Billy. Billy, personally, I feel, is the worst character in this game. When you want to shoot his gun, you need to press the directional key corresponding to where the bullet is in the barrel of your gun. Yup, to play this character, you need to play a fucking mini-game. That icon above his head, if the bullet is in the left of the barrel, you need to press the left button on your keyboard, and of course you can't exactly constantly focus on this little minigame when you're trying to evade all the projectiles constantly firing at you. And not only that, but his aiming is the same as Noah's, in that you only shoot in the direction you're facing, which makes the entire ordeal even more unnecessarily complicated. Billy is the prime example of the word gimmicky, which I use to describe the characters in this game. His entire control set is a gimmick, and it ends up being way more frustrating than anything. Next guy up is Pablo, who fights using dynamite. The way you attack is you press one button to lay down your bomb, and when you're a safe distance away, you press another button to detonate the bomb. Problem here is that you can understandably die from your own bomb, and this can quickly lead to players getting frustrated from just dying every time they try to attack. Next character is Abel, and he is pretty much the best and most reliable character in this lineup. He attacks using revolver, which you can aim with your mouse, left click to shoot, and right click to reload your bullets. Out of everyone here, his control scheme makes the most sense and has the least problems, which leads to him being used the most by anyone playing the game. Next we have Virgil, who has the same control scheme as Abel, only instead of shooting 6 separate bullets, Virgil shoots it out all at once, and of course this means that when you hit right click to reload more times, your shots become more powerful, with the only problem with this guy being the fact that you can only do one shot at a time. But the fact that he has the same control scheme as Abel, it makes him one of the more decent characters. Next is Duke, whose weapon is a machine gun. Here you aim with the mouse and hold down the right mouse button to turn and aim your machine gun, and then you hold down the left mouse button to shoot. Understandably, Duke slows down a ton when shooting. However, this makes later levels where there's an absurd amount of enemies just plain impossible because of how necessary it is to run and shoot at the same time. Next we have Tao, who launches off rockets to attack, with the main problems being the fact that there's a significant delay from when you lay down the rocket to when it fires off, and that those rockets can be destroyed if hit with a projectile, making the chance that they'll even hit an enemy extremely unreliable. Next is Zeke, who has a sniper rifle. You shoot one bullet at a time with the left mouse button, and hit the right mouse button to reload. His bullets do pierce through multiple enemies, which makes going through crowds of enemies that much easier, and if he stops moving and is away from enemies, Zeke can cloak himself, making it easier to shoot at enemies without them shooting back at you. However, this quickly becomes a problem when the game throws a wide open level with a ton of enemies, making it impossible to cloak yourself and effectively impossible to beat many of the game's later stages. Second to last character is Dutch, who is also one of the more decent characters. He's a juggler and attacks using bowling pins, bottles, and piranhas. He does have the same control scheme as Abel, which is great, and he even has the ability to warp to wherever your mouse is on the map, giving you the opportunity to jump out of risky situations. His only flaw is that his projectiles have a bit of a curve to them, and that they don't exactly have the longest range either. Last is the 13th, which consists of an entire regiment of soldiers who all fire at once, making it easier to attack multiple enemies at once. They are extremely slow, however, and this can result in your regiment of soldiers quickly getting killed one by one. You only officially die when your guy in the center of the group gets shot, but this happens fairly often as you still move just as slow when you only have one shooting soldier alive when compared to when your entire regiment is still alive. You do have the ability to raise a banner, which gives you a short burst of speed, but this ultimately doesn't matter when enemies are constantly shooting at your slow, drudging group of soldiers. And that's it for all the characters you can use. Seriously, out of all of them, only 3 to 4 were usable, with only one that was reliable enough to use in multiple sessions. Too many of them are more gimmicks than anything. You use it once or twice and then ditch it forever, just because the level designs make some of the characters impossible to fight with. And speaking of the level designs, we can move on to my second main problem with this game, and that is how repetitive it is. I'll start with the story mode, that's the mode you saw me play earlier. And simply put, you walk into an area, shoot everyone in it, and then you go on to the next area. The levels seem to be randomly generated when it comes to where things are on the map, but besides that, it's pretty much just gonna be a bunch of guys with random walls and obstacles. There are some specific areas which spice up the game a bit, such as river rapids, train tracks, and even being on the train itself, but when you combine this with enemies which all feel the same when you fight them, and the entire quest just feels like a huge repetitive mess. All the areas you encounter are random too, so after you clear one area, you may get the chance to go to a few new areas, or 2 of the same area, or even just one choice. And I'm not sure what the randomization is on what areas you can encounter, but sometimes I'd just be going through neutral zones 3 times in a row, or through the same ambush scene a few times in a row too. And speaking of the ambush scene, that is one of the few different events that can happen during the game. There's also the chance for you to earn some money saving hostages, or pushing a cart to the end of a track, and these can bring a playthrough out of what seems like a boring slump. Except for the last event, which I barely even attempt to complete, and that's the criminal scene where you need to kill a target. This game gives them a health bar alongside an overabundance of other enemies to deal with, and then it spawns the criminal at the top of the map, making it virtually impossible to even hit him before he escapes through the top of the map. If you even try to rush to the back to kill him, chances are you'll just be instantly killed by the many enemies in your way. It's stupid. The story in this story mode comes in 3 acts, with each act ending in a boss battle, and to be honest, the boss battles were the most fun parts. But besides those battles, as the game gets into its later stages, it really just gets more ridiculous. Like I said before, there isn't a huge variation of enemies in this game, which means to up the difficulty, the game just kinda stuffs more enemies into each area. So many, in fact, that it gets almost laughable when you realize there's such a ludicrous amount of enemies shooting at you. This isn't a game getting harder, this is just artificial difficulty being pumped into each level. Like, what the fuck is this? The second mode, arcade mode, is pretty much the same thing as the story mode, only it never ends, and, you know, that was to be expected, it's an arcade mode. And I think that's it for my spiel on this game. Like, for its pros, the boss battles were cool, and some events put in there were exciting to do, but the cons are pretty much everything else. Too many characters that become virtually unusable if you actually want to play the game, and levels and fights that become so repetitive that it makes the game drag. There are already so many top-down shooters out there right now that any aspect of mediocrity just hurts the game all that much more when compared to other top-down shooters that just do it plain better. Such as with Star Wars Rogue, the last game I played in this series. That top-down shooter had a wide array of enemies that, although some were frustrating, you still knew how to defeat each one, and those many enemies were scattered about in randomly generated levels, which made no playthrough feel like the last, and a healthy amount of boss battles, power-ups, and weapons. Each mech you used in that game had the exact same controls, but each was still different in its stats and weapons, where you could choose how to attack the game just from your choice of mech suit. And a Fistful of Gun just doesn't seem to be doing any of that. In fact, the complete opposite, which is why I'm gonna have to give this game, out of a fistful of fun, a fistful of none. Now I can gladly remove this from my list of games I still need to play, and I say gladly because I'm not gonna be returning to this one. I'm really getting faster with these uploads, and I'm actually proud to say that for at least the month of February, I'll be uploading a video weekly. So yeah, just gonna see how the schedule works out, like if I can manage it and stuff, and expect to see another video 1 week from today. See ya.